The agenda tonight is the flaws of budgeting. I spent like I said, over 20 years working in corporations. And as soon as we did the budget, we then spent the next 12 months doing forecast to actual. And why the budget didn't work was because stuff happens. Things like, and not even big things like pandemics, but things happen. And that's why budgets don't work. Also, budgeting, it's like a diet. No one likes to be on a diet, and no one likes to be put on a budget. We'll look at some smart spending strategies. That they're like, that probably interests more people than talking about budgeting. Give us the strategies. Give us some everyday strategies that I can go and start doing tomorrow and make a difference. We're going to look at some debt reduction and tips, and then finding money. Finding money's fun, but I'm like, what's your plan to do with the money? If you just go and go put some different money into some bigger, badder habits, that doesn't really help you either. So not necessarily not just finding you the money, but what are your goals? What are your dreams? I love to say that I help my clients fund their dreams by because we know about dreams and plans, right? It's like, let's put a plan together. And like I said, I just had a client message me today that after we've been working just over 2 years, and just before her birthday this week, she is debt-free, in her early 30s, debt-free, and now she's ready to tackle and knowing that she's not paying bad interest. All right, so here's some questions. You can raise your hand, or you can just put in the comments, yes, me, if any of these sound familiar. I have debt, but I always want to save, but I also want to save for my future. It's that big dilemma. I have like some credit card debt, or we have our mortgage, or just some student loan debt. I have this debt, but I still want to start saving. How do I do both? How many people does that sound familiar? I know that's been familiar for me for a number of years, and tackled it because you can do both. And one of the principles I like one of the gentlemen is Dave Ramsey out of the US, one of the top financial talk show guys in the US. And he talks about baby steps, and baby step one, and we'll talk a little bit about baby step one later tonight. All right, so then we got, I'm not sure where my money goes at the end of the month. And we all have heard this before. If you've done any work in personal development or listened to any of the speakers, especially if anything in the direct sales market, we hear the story about more month than money. How many people have more month? I did it even in my corporate job. And before I was previously married, we had 2 young kids. We had 2 good corporate jobs and a mortgage, 2 cars, and money just went out. And all of a sudden it's the 25th of the month, and you're like, man, I still got 5 more days of the month to go, and there isn't money in the bank account. I'm pretty sure people can relate. You don't have to rat yourself out, but if you're comfortable to say, yeah, that was me. All right. I'm nearing retirement, and I'm not sure if there's anything more I can do to prepare. Well, guess what? There's always something more. And it's not about putting more savings away. There's some definite strategies, including one of the things I recommend to my clients. I have a client who's she's a retired teacher, and she has a side business. And by having a side business, she makes her everyday expenses tax deductible and gets a refund on the income tax that she pays on her pension. So even into retirement, there's still things that you can do. There's strategies when it comes to when do you take CPP. You can even still contribute to your RSP even into retirement right up to the age of 70. All right, so let's get into the next one. I make great income, but I feel I should be getting more out of it, right? It's like, man, I make good money, but I'm like, it's not all about money, right? All right, so budgeting provides awareness. Makes me aware. I have a budget. I know that I spend on this little device here. This is my cell phone. I know I spend $65 a month on my cell phone bill. I pay my son's bill. We pay our internet bill. I pay for my car insurance, my accident and sickness insurance, my critical illness insurance, my life insurance. I pay all those bills on a monthly basis. 60% of Canadians are capable of basic budgeting. It's not that we're not capable. It's not that we're financially illiterate. We're not talking about financial literacy. You know, most Canadians know what it is, but nearly 53% of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck. That was in 2019. That's not even including last year's stats when COVID hit and all of a sudden there was 3 million people unemployed. Imagine what that did to last year. People were panicking, wanting to figure out how can I qualify for the CERB benefit because they didn't have enough money to pay their rent. Canadians owed $1.78 for every dollar they earned. That is not a good trend. That is not going to get you, that's not going to get you too far. That's going to get you in trouble. All right, I see. So, welcome, Maricel. And I personally witnessed businesses on high income. Yep. So perfect. I got the chat box open now, so that I'm figuring out my tech. It's always good. All right, let's see what the next slide is. Budgeting. What comes to mind when you hear the word budgeting? So before I flip to the slide and give you the cheat answers, just in the chat box, when I say the word budgeting, how does that make you feel? Right? Get out of your head and get into your heart, or better yet, get into your stomach. You know, I just finished dinner. My dinner is starting to process there. When I hear the word budgeting, how does that make you feel? Right? You can type stuff into the chat if you want, but I'll give you into the secret here. No secret to it. Restrictive, giving up, sacrifice. You don't know how many times I hear people about I had to sacrifice. I know a guy, he sold his motorcycle. He's doing all this stuff and he's like, I'm gonna make the sacrifice. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good time. Controlling, fear, pain, letting go, what I don't have or what I can't have. And why work hard? Man, that is not a good time. I'm like, no wonder. As a financial advisor, one of the first things we used to do, discipline. That's a good one, Jacob. Yeah, Jake, it's discipline. Can be disciplined. Why does it work for some and not for others? Flip back to this one. So as a financial advisor, when I spent my first 2 years as an advisor working with London Life and Freedom 55, they had this budget, right? So you sit down with someone and you say, hey, great. They do the initial meeting. It's like, here's this budget. Go home, do that, and our next meeting, we'll sit down. How many times do you think that budget gets completed? Next to no time. I know Ness is here tonight. So Ness and I we worked together, and we would just sit down. We do kind of a napkin budget right there on the spot. You don't necessarily need. I don't need to the dollar. I just need to say, how much is your rent? So if I ask you tonight, right now, how much is your rent? How much is your mortgage? How much do you spend on car payments? You know, within $1 or $2, it's good enough, right? All right, where budgeting does work. So let's give you the positives. Budgeting is fantastic tool for renovation projects. Great. I got to do a bathroom. I got to fix my kitchen. I got to knock my kitchen right down to the studs. I'm going to budget $60,000 to redo my kitchen. I have a colleague right now. She's redoing the whole main floor of her house, took it right down to the studs, right up to the floor joists, and you could do a budget for that. Perfect. Tasks. All right. So if I got to repair, I have to repair the brakes on my car, I'm going to generally be able to budget with the dealership or the mechanic to say, okay, give me a quote. And how much is it going to be? Events, birthday parties, anniversary parties, a wedding. Great example. How many people still are single? Are you single? Still planning to get married someday? Weddings, good time to use budgeting. Vacations. We just at Christmas time. We took off for a few days. We went to. I know we weren't supposed to travel, but we had already had it booked and they weren't going to give us our refund. So we went up to Mont Tremblant. We skied for a day, stayed in a private condo. We were safe, drove up there, had a good time. And as a result, that had a budget. So we had a budget. Okay, the 3 nights in the condo, the food, the ski tickets, and the rentals for 1 day, snowshoeing. You can create a budget for that, and you can plan ahead. And that's all great tools for budgets. Where are the flaws, right? Okay, what is it? You don't get to prioritize with a budget. What's more important, your cell phone bill or your internet bill? Tell me, which one's more important? Because the budget, okay, my budget says I pay $60 on my cell phone, and we pay almost $100 on my internet. What's more important? I have to pay both of them. I'm on a contract, right? It doesn't prioritize. Jake says internet. True, like you could get away without a phone, maybe. Apps are nice. Apps are great for hold you, but they don't hold you accountable. A lot of the things when it comes to budgeting, I use mint.com. I don't know if anyone's heard of mint.com, but I'll share a link with you. I use that one. It's a free tool, but it's reactive. It will tell me how much I spent last week, last month, last year. It's not really, it's not forward thinking. It doesn't look forward. Electronic payments make it so easy and convenient. Tapping, right? Tap, tap, tap. You're unconscious. You're unconscious and not marketing proof. When it's talking about marketing, it's like we get marketed to every day of the week. Every time we turn around, we're getting bombarded by marketing, whether it be online or billboards or the radio or television. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Education can't fix the underlying issue. Because I'm pretty sure no one in the room tonight is going to say that they're uneducated. Maybe you don't have an accounting degree. I have an accounting degree, but that didn't help me in budgeting. If anything, it probably was a downside because I'm an accountant. I know, but I didn't know. They didn't teach us household budgeting, personal finance. It has corporate tax. Fantastic. How to discount a bond. Great. I can discount a bond. I can do calculus, but I couldn't figure out how to do a personal tax return. That's what we do on Thursday nights now. It's listening to the wrong advice. That's right. We listen to advice from no offense to our friends and family, but they didn't know any better. Most of them. Your neighbor doesn't know any better. Maybe he does. Depends who your neighbor is. I can't keep up. And our poor mental math. Now I have a quick little thing. Don't get overwhelmed. It's not to actually keep up, but try and keep up. But it goes pretty quick. But it's just to show you, if you try to keep track of this stuff in your head and doing mental math, it's hard as heck. All right. And Rebecca and Ed, and they got 2 kids, busy households. And welcome. So they're just gonna go here, and we picked the blue bike. So get ready. You got $3,000 in your bank account, and you're off and running. All right, just rang through the groceries, almost $45 in groceries. Now we're going to pay some bills. Ooh, look at that cable bill, $200. Ouch. Keep playing along. Day 2. Could go for lunch. Now the good news is these days we're not going for too many takeout lunches. But that was just $20 for lunch. Oh, hopefully I'm not making anybody feel bad about going out for coffee, because we're not doing too much going for coffee right now either. He's going to order a pizza, put some mushrooms and some onion and some pepperoni and some other stuff, peppers on there. Oh, that looks good. $25. Finish up day 2. How are we doing? What do you think day 2 number is? All right. Oh, cars. You know, cars are great, but cars generally come with bills. Had to fix a flat tire. Oh, childcare. How many people have kids? Do you have kids in the room? If you, I know a couple people said they're single, but if you have kids, just type in the comments, kids. I can relate. My guys are 14 and 16. Uh, when they're younger, though, the daycare bills and all that other good stuff. Birthday parties, right? Imagine birthday parties. All right. How much? What was your guess? What do you think? What was 1,500 was not correct? All right. End of day 1. How much do you think? How much did you have left? Day 2, 1,300. All right. Day 2 has 16. Scroll down. Oops. Let me just. Oh, where did it go? Sorry about that. Family has 1,600. How many people had 1,600? Anyone? Next time I'm going to do it, someone's going to actually win a prize if you guessed $1,600. I didn't, I'll be honest, the first time I did it, I didn't guess $1,600. All right, so here I talked a really bit about this at the top, right at the beginning of the night. We talked about, just want to make sure everybody's still here. Still got 9 people here, so that's good. We talked about traditional things like fixed versus variable, right? I'm not sure, maybe if someone has taken some basic accounting, or you just kind of learn, sort of, we talked about fixed things. So fixed bills. So fixed things are like your bills, right? Like we talked about your TV, your cable bill. How many people, just share with me in the comments, how many people still pay for cable, like traditional cable? You're paying Bell, Rogers, you're paying for cable. Don't be embarrassed about it. Lots of people still like cable TV. So if you're still paying a cable bill, just type in cable. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and sell you something. Just curious, right? But probably paying for Netflix, maybe Amazon Prime, maybe Disney, right? So all of a sudden we're like not paying cable bill, but we're paying for like 3 subscriptions, and it adds up still. All right. Our insurance. So I make sure that I pay my life insurance, my critical illness, my accident and sickness insurance. I make sure that gets paid every month. I don't want that policy to lapse. My investments. On the variable side, gas, right? Because I used to spend, I'll be honest, I used to spend close to $50 or more a week in gas. Now I fill up the car maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. Last year for 2020, I've done my expenses for my business already. My gas budget was half. I spent half the amount of gas last year than I did in 2019. I even called and I got a little bit of a reduction on my insurance, because I called my insurance company and said, hey, guess what? I'm not driving my car nearly as much as I used to. Can I get some relief? Groceries, right? What happened last March, April, when COVID first hit us? People's grocery spending went crazy. People spent a month's worth of their grocery bill on toilet paper. We didn't do that. We live in a condo. I don't have that much room to store that much toilet paper. I'm not sure what it was, but it was that panic that no one really knew. But it just was this thing where everyone was buying toilet paper like crazy. At the end of the month, they went to pay their credit card bill and be like, holy crap, how come my credit card bill is so high? Oh, look how much I spent on groceries. I call it the Costco scenario, where you go and you buy all the stuff. It's a great deal, and you buy quantity. You buy a month's worth of groceries and you eat it in 2 weeks. Or you get it and then you have to throw it out. Eating out, right? So again, variable. Our eating out budgets were shrink. Right? We eat out maybe once a week, Friday nights. We kind of spoil ourselves. All right, needs and wants, right? So we know about needs and wants. We got Milo's hierarchy of needs. We got needs like groceries and shelter, like rent or mortgage. You got gas. I need to put gas in my car. But wants is like, oh, I don't actually drink coffee, so I'm not going to talk about coffee. But I know people, my girlfriend, she has her want once in a while for Starbucks coffee. Could be eating out. We kind of want to. So the other night we ordered pizza on Sunday. Watching a little bit of the Super Bowl. Daily expenses, kind of all wants. And that doesn't really work too much, but too much risk of overspending in these needs, right? It's like, oh, I need, how many pairs of shoes? Just curious, not to call people out, but just they do a little bit of mental math. Like, how many pairs of shoes do you have? And how much have you been wearing those? Or maybe suits or fancy clothes? And how much, I got 3 suits, actually 2 suits, sports jacket, been in the closet since last March. Haven't worn them. Haven't worn them at all, right? I'm not going to give them away, but it really comes down to say dollars and cents. What's a need and what's a want? And that's what we're going to look at tonight. That's what we look in here. So not to overwhelm you. It's just going to get in your head, get in your head a little bit, also a little bit in your heart, and just get you thinking. So overwhelmed brain, right? Our brains we get bombarded. We've got to worry about kids homeschooling and maybe caring for elderly parents and not sure what's going on at work. Trying to balance it all, right? Overwhelm the brain will cause too many categories. Oh, especially if you're a home-based business. How many people have a home-based business? You have a job, but you're running a business on the side. If that's you, just type in yes. If you're trying to balance the books on a home-based business as well. If you want, just type in yes if that's you. There we go. There's one yes. Thank you so much. And again, it's just curious because income tax, it's tax time, right? There's just so many categories. Like, where does this go? Where does that go? I got groceries. I got this amount. I got this. Not compatible with just your brain, like your electronic spending and credit cards, and especially when it's great to put things on auto pay. But it can be really overwhelming because you're like, oh, damn, it's the 15th of the month. I got paid and man, the money's gone already because the mortgage payment just came out. And especially if the timing's a little bit different, the insurance payment came out last week and something else comes out next week. And then all of a sudden you got a bill you have to pay that you weren't really planning to. It overwhelms the brain. You can't keep track of it. I tried. So let me tell you, I work with numbers all day long, and not an ego thing, but sometimes the ego gets a little depleted here, and it's too much effort, too much. So here we go. Categorization needs to make it easier. So we look at emotion, right? Money's emotional. News alert. They didn't teach us this in school. They didn't teach us about emotions, right? We learned about IQ. We didn't learn enough about EQ. One of the things I work with clients is we get a little bit more into the EQ side of things, the emotional quotient. Paying your bills, paying your rent. Now, maybe you don't like your landlord. It's a little bit emotional, but it's not really that emotional. When you go and you pump gas at the gas pump, you might get a little bit mad at Justin Trudeau when they put that big sticker on there showing how much tax is there, but not really, right? You're like, I'm on empty. I've driven my car as far as I can go. The idiot light is flashing at me. I got to fill up. Even if it's $1.10, I got to fill up because I'm on empty. And there's low emotional risks. High emotional risk, grocery shopping. How many people go to the grocery store when you're hungry, right? You know you're not supposed to go to the grocery store hungry, but just say yes, yes, that's me, or just type in me. Me is really easy. So how many people have gone at least once to the grocery store hungry, right? I'm sure someone has gone to the grocery store hungry. Just someone help me out. Just type in me. And you're in the checkout line and you're taking the stuff out of the cart and you're putting it on the belt, and you're like, what the heck? How did this get in the grocery cart? I had my list. Here's my grocery list. I actually do shop with a grocery list. My girlfriend does it for me. Not sure if it's here. No, it's not there. But I actually when I go to the St. Lawrence Market on Saturdays, I go with a list. And then even still, there's some stuff that gets in the grocery basket that wasn't really planned for. Eating out, right? All of a sudden, you never at home do you eat like an appetizer and dessert and a cappuccino, and all of a sudden you're eating out. The next thing you know, you're eating calamari and you got a big entree and you're ordering a slice of pie and then a drink. You ordered a glass of wine and then an espresso afterwards, and you're like, holy cow, I don't eat like this. But when you're eating out, all of a sudden you just change your whole eating habits. I'm not a dietitian. I know from experience. No one wants to be put on a budget. I'm going to say, hey, Jake, here's $25. That's your budget for tomorrow for eating. And Jake's like, oh, great. Do I eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner? No, you got to eat all 3 meals on $25. And Jake's like, man, okay, I'll get coffee and maybe a breakfast sandwich. And okay, that's $10. I'll grab instead of a 12-inch sub, I'll grab a 6-inch sub for lunch. Okay, there's another $8. So I was 10 and 8, I'm 18. So I guess I'm having a $7 dinner. I guess I'll have a hamburger, but not a combo. No one wants to be doing that. All right. So here's the idea. Here's the goal. Is short-term goals. I'm pretty sure everyone in the room, this isn't the first time someone's heard about goal setting, right? Yeah, $4 Wendy's Bacon Deluxe. Maybe only on Wednesdays, right? Maybe only eat out on Wednesdays when they got the specials, right? How many people like, oh, I just order whatever the discount special is, right? Discount special buyers. I'm like, oh, I'd just like to. Okay, here's a quick one. I'm gonna say, actually, I'm gonna ask this one at the end. Let me just make a note. I'm just gonna make a note so I don't forget. All right, good. All right. So short-term goals. 6 to 18. How many people have goals? How many people have already set your financial goal? You got some financial goals for 2021. I almost said 2018. Am I going backwards in time? No, 2021 already. We're in 20, and we're already into February. We're halfway through February almost. Sunday's Valentine's Day. I rarely go out. Okay, that's good. But how many have a financial goal? Maybe you're putting some money into your RSP. You want to pay off one of your credit cards. You want to put so much money in your tax-free savings account. You want to put X dollars into a vacation. You want to go on vacation. You're like, man, I hope that pandemic thing gets over before the December so I can go on vacation. I go somewhere warm, sit on a beach, dig into the sand a little bit. Any of that interest people? Anyone have a plan? I'm not even asking for the plan on how to do it. I'm just asking if you have a goal that makes you happy. Oh, I'm going to save more money. Man, saving, that makes me so happy. Makes me feel so happy when I put money into my bank account for savings. Said no one. Said no one. Unless you, I don't know about saving money. It doesn't necessarily make me happy. Doesn't make me feel happy. Happy is a state of mind, right? Something that you really want. Maybe it's a car. Want to upgrade your car. You're like, I want to buy a house someday. That's a good savings goal. Bicycle, vacation, go back to school, trip with your parents, get married. I don't know. You tell me. Something that you feel like you can't afford. Oh, who growing up was told by their parents, no, can't afford that. So that new shiny red bicycle, nope, can't afford that one. Went to the car dealership, no, and they kind of laughed at you. You're like, no, we need to go over to this side of the dealership. These are the cars that are pretty sure you can afford, right? Walk the mall, kind of go in and look at some new shoes. And you're like, oh, someday, maybe. Pay off that credit card is not emotional. No one gets emotional. My client was happy when she called, when he left me the message today, that she's like, I'm debt free. She was she was happy. I wouldn't say she was elated. It was a little bit emotional, but it's not emotional in nature. Maybe once you're done, yes, but making that extra monthly payment each month, not so much. Savings doesn't change spending habits. Say what? Saving does not change spending habits. Automate credit and debit systems. Create systems that work with your psychology, not against it. I spent four almost 5 years doing personal development. When my last corporate job almost 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 2021. Actually, I'm approaching my anniversary. The day before my 41st birthday, oh man, that's 8 years ago. Man, time flies. 8 years ago, I was walked out the door of my last corporate job. And then I went on kind of a 5-year spending blitz doing personal development. And now I tell people, hey, great, go to those events. Just for the first time, leave your credit card at home. No offense to the people running it at the front of the stage, get you running to the back of the stage with your credit card. I'm like, just go for the learning experience. Just leave your credit card at home. How many heard about the system where you put, I never did this, but you put your credit card in the freezer, right? You zip it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer, right? Because it doesn't really work when well, it does work. You can still read out the numbers. You can still go online shopping with a cold credit card. You just can't go to the the brick and mortar store with a cold credit card, maybe. Then you put it in the microwave and you're like, man, I really need it. I put it in my microwave and then the strip bulb goes flashing. No, it's not it. All right, automate bill payments to your credit card. So I do this. Here's a really quick tip. I'm going to pay my cell phone bill every month. And why would I risk paying it late and having a $1 or $2 late fee? That's dumb, right? I'm not saying that I'm dumb, but I'm just saying that would be a dumb strategy to do. So just auto pay it on your credit card. I auto pay it on my credit card. It pays it 5 days early or so. I'm going to pay my credit card bill anyway, but I get the points. I'm not a big points guy. I used to be, but now I'm like, the points, you accumulate points and you're spending and you're paying more than the points are worth in most cases, but just automate it. So you don't even have to think about, don't spend valuable time doing things and putting energy to things that have no value to you. Now, I didn't say don't look at your bill. Still, review your cell phone bill. I was in Niagara Falls and they charged me $40 for roaming because it picked up the tower. And I'm like, wait a second, I wasn't roaming. I was still on the Canadian side. Reverse that charge, please. Right? So I didn't say don't look at your stuff. I just said don't rely on you sitting down and paying all your bills if you can automate it. How many people do this? I'll be honest, I still don't do this, but I'm going to be doing this soon. Is by the end of tax season, by the end of April, I'm going to automate, pay my credit card balance in full. I'm just going to automate it. It's bold, right? Got to have enough money in the bank for that. How many people check their bank statement? When was the last time you checked your bank statement, right? Did you check it? Did you check it last month? What was the last month's bank statement that you truly kind of went through with a comb? Fine-tooth comb, looked through that bank statement, make sure everything you got, you paid for? Did you do January? We're already the 11th of February? Did you review January statement yet? People are kind of silent. Check out your credit score. How many people, when was the last time you checked your credit score? All right, have you checked your credit score lately? Use it, and there's different apps that you can use. You can use, Credit Karma, and you can TransUnion, and it's better than nothing, right? Money is not the problem. Money is not a math problem. Better yet, it's not a math problem. Just because I have a degree in mathematics, you don't need a degree in mathematics to sort out your money. The typical cash flow. So money comes in, you got one bank account, and bang, unconscious spending, bills, debts, savings, mortgages, all come out of your bank account, and money's flying in and flying out, and you have no clue what day of the week it is. Do you remember every auto payment? It's the 11th of the month. I don't. I know that my insurance payments generally come out the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of the month. I know it's about $350. I don't know for sure. I don't know to the dollar. A low effort cash flow system. You're like, whoa, that doesn't look low effort. That looks like confusing. But let's take a quick look. Income into a committed cash flow account, emergency savings, short-term goals, and committed expenses like your phone bill, your electricity, all that stuff. Out of here, out of this account comes your debt, loan payments, mortgage, credit cards. Then you have this other bank account called a spendable cash flow with a debit card attached to this one. No debit card attached to this one. This is the debit card. And you move money from here into here. And then this is the one, cash only for 30 days. Who's up for a challenge? All right, I want you to type in, because there might be a prize. I have a special offer for you tonight. I'm not selling anything, but I may have a special offer for you tonight. Type in there right now if you're up for a challenge. If someone types in there, but you got to type in challenge, Jake. So you say yes, but type in the word challenge. That way I know what you're up for. So Jake's up for the challenge. I think Ness is still here. Ness, are you up for a challenge? Maricel, are you up for a challenge? I know a couple people in the room tonight. I know most people. Let me know if you're up for the challenge. All right, he's up for a challenge. You don't even know what you're up for the challenge for yet, but you're up for the challenge. I appreciate that, because you're like, just say yes. All right. If we could show you what is safe to spend, if we can show you what's safe to spend, then and only then will you feel safe to save, right? Most people say, I'm going to pay all my bills, and then whatever's left at the end of the month, that's my savings. And what happens is we have the more month than money, and at the end of the month, there's no left over for savings, and no one ever saves because there's never anything left over. Got to take the savings off the top. Behavioral cash flow. Here we go. Reorganize your expenses into manageable categories. Committed expenses, spendable. Bills, insurance, investments, non-emotional, emotional. Groceries, eating out, daily expenses. Behavioral cash flow. Find your money, finds you the money to fund your dreams. How many people have a dream? Financial goal, dream. Little bit of dream. Vision board. Anyone have a vision board? Got some stuff up on the wall, cut out picture. Oh, just get up every morning, fire a dream. And then you get up in the morning, and you look at that, and you look at that picture, and you're like, oh, it gets me out of the bed in the morning, right? Gets you out of the bed. Right. And this don't worry, this is not a network marketing deal. This is simply working with your currently making. I'm not, when you people on post on Facebook and say, who wants an extra $500 a month? And you have to go sell it to your friends and neighbors, right? That's not this deal. This is literally finding you $100 to $1,000 per month in efficient interest. Helps you stop money leaks so you can have the money for the things that do matter. What matters to you? Not with me. You don't have kids. You don't care about kids. You don't care about saving for an RESP. You're not worried about paying for your kids' education if you don't have kids. Maybe you love to travel. Maybe it doesn't really matter, but it doesn't really matter, but I'm like a 5th, 6th generation Canadian, right? I was my ancestors are here. Maybe people are like, I want to take a trip. I want to go back when we can travel again. I want to go back to where your parents are, or where you emigrated from. I don't know what travel. Not everyone cares about travel. Lots of people really care about travel because they haven't been able to do it. All right, and a plan that tells you what to do, not just what to buy. All right. Take some of the thinking away from you, and know your credit. So how many people know their credit score? Within a ballpark, as accurate as it can be. Third-party things aren't your real credit score. I'll give you a little of the 411 on that. The credit score that the banks and the mortgage guys use, you can't actually get that credit score. It's like a secret thing. You can use, I use Credit Karma. It's kind of it's a benchmark. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a benchmark. It's better than no credit score. How many people know what their score is? You can type in me or credit score. Jake knows his score. Excellent. Got to know where you stand. Got to draw a line in the sand and say, on this day, I was this, this, and this. And then you're your own competition. You're competing with your younger self to say, hey, last in 2020, I was a 685. My score was 685, and my goal is to get into the green. My goal is to get into at least the 690s. And then you put a plan to say, how do I do that? Pay your bills. Look at your debt structure. Count how many different debts you have. How many people have more than one credit card? You can type in a number. You can type in 1, 2, 3. It's not a judging thing. Sometimes it's good to have 2. Jake's got 2. Find out how much they cost you in total. Don't get distracted by the interest rates, right? And then we get the cash flow plan. This is about debt diversification. Will hurt. Got to structure it. Got to make a plan. And here's the good news: is that the combination with most people in inefficient interest and unconscious spending on items that doesn't really matter adds up. On average, we find $3,100 per month. Now that's kind of the system, right? And it all depends on how much you're making. So if generally they're using the system for people that are making $100,000 or $150,000, obviously their monthly spending is a lot bigger. Don't worry about this. It's not a comparison. I'm not saying I'm going to find you $3,000 if you're not owning it, but if you make $50,000, there's not $3,000 of spending to find, but there are definitely some strategies. Just because it's better to start with something and then say, oh, no, not me at all. No, even if we find $100, how much benefit would $100 give you? Better than $0, right? Get started. What are the most important goals? What's that most important goals you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? Got to be your goals. I can't give you your goals. What's that goal for the next 6 months? What's stopping you from achieving your goal? And you can book a short call with me and we'll start to tackle it. All right.